What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction video, and in this one we have how American and British traffic lights are very different. I legit did not know they were different. I just know that Brits drive on the left side and Americans drive on the right side of the road. But I thought honestly that traffic lights were the same, and I know that in the UK there's more roundabouts being used, but traffic light. Okay, I guess we're about to learn something new today. Love learning something new. Before we do, if you happen to enjoy the video, please don't forget to subscribe, and then subscribe. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
While you might not spend a lot of time thinking about traffic lights, you do spend a lot of time sitting at them. In the UK, It's estimated that a driver spends about 8 minutes a day waiting at a red light. And in America, they estimate that you spend about 6 months of your entire life waiting at traffic.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately,
just thinking of 6 months. 6 months. 180 days. Just waiting at a traffic light. Of your life. Of your life you spent just waiting at a traffic light is mind-blowing.
I can't independently verify these stats, so don't use them in your research paper, but the point is, traffic lights are a big part of life. And if you can spend 8 minutes of your day doing nothing at a red light, you can spend 8 minutes of your day watching this video on the differences between traffic lights in the UK versus the USA. By the way, hi, I'm Kayla, a dual UK and American citizen, and today I'm playing a traffic light expert on the internet. Now, let's do a brief rundown of the history of the traffic light, because this is an area where both the US and the UK contributed. Before traffic lights were invented, traffic was usually controlled by a traffic police, but in 1868, a man named J.P. Knight from Nottingham, who worked on railway signaling systems, came up with the idea for a traffic light that was installed outside of the Houses of Parliament. He came up with the idea based on railway signals at the time, and it was used to control the excessive amount of horse-drawn carriage traffic that was making it difficult for the traffic and pedestrians to all coexist safely. It was gaslit, and it was operated by a police constable, and while it did work, unfortunately it exploded the year after because of a leak in the gas lines. But it was an American, a policeman named Lester Wire from Salt Lake City, Utah, who developed the first electric traffic light in 1912.
Hey, shout out my boy Lester Wire. He said it got to be a way. It got to be a way electrically, not gas. It got to be a way electrically that we can make these traffic lights. That way we ain't got people having to sit out there all day. You come, you stop, you come, you stop. It's just too much. It's too much. So electric traffic lights. Good job.
This design had a wooden box mounted onto a wooden pole, and it had one green light bulb and one red light bulb. The first fully electric traffic signal system was installed in Cleveland, Ohio in 1914, and in 1919, a man named William Potts from Michigan introduces the amber or yellow light. The UK started using their own manually operated 3-color traffic lights in Piccadilly around 1926, with automatic lights coming onto the scene in Wolverhampton in 1927. The first permanent automatic traffic lights in the UK were installed just 1 year later in the city of Leeds. And of course, over the years, as technology has improved, lights have changed and developed and started using computing technology and other kinds of controls and signals to keep up with the times and the type of traffic. Now let's move on to the difference.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about how they operate. I be feeling like sometimes. So I guess all these computers and algorithms and everything, these traffic lights take into account busiest times going certain ways and less busy times going certain. I don't know. It's a lot when you truly sit there and think about it. I'm gonna just sit at the stoplight and I'm gonna sing my music. That's what I'm gonna do.
So the number of traffic lights is one major difference. Because the US is low on roundabouts and high on intersections, and because the US is a much larger place than the UK, the US has so many more traffic lights than the UK, around 300,000 in the US and around 30,000 in the UK. Another major difference has to do with the installation of traffic lights and the design of the entire structure. In the UK, I've only ever seen what I would call a post-mounted traffic light that looks like this. Actually, I wouldn't have called it that before this video. I had to look up the term because all I could think of was a traffic light on a stick, but apparently it's called a post-mounted traffic light. In the US, we do have some post-mounted traffic lights, but it is much more popular to have wire-strung traffic lights that look like this, or if they're not attached with wires, they're still attached to a long mast hanging over the roadway. If there are any suspended...
That is very, very interesting. So in the UK, you only have pole-mounted traffic lights. Is that how she described it? That's a lot different look. Yes, we have them hanging on a wire for sure. We have them mounted like this 100%. I legit thought it would be like this everywhere there was traffic lights, but there go me making my assumptions. Stop assuming, Darian. That's very interesting. Okay.
Traffic lights in the UK, someone let me know, because if it is, it's going to be extremely rare. There isn't an official reason I can find why America prefers to have lights overhanging, but honestly, we're not that great at driving, so I feel like one major benefit is just to get a potential obstacle out of our way so we can't hit it on accident. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. The method of attaching the lights in the US does actually vary by region and by when the lights were installed. Wire-strung lights are an older type of installation and typically more popular on the East Coast than the West Coast, whereas the overhanging pole or mast is the newer installation and slowly replacing the strung wire where possible. The span wire, as it's called, is often used in states that are strapped for cash because it is a cheaper option. It's easier to put the traffic lights up when you just need 2 wooden poles and some wire, and they're easier to adjust in positioning for different layouts and road changes over time. They can also withstand the wind a little more than you would think, but the overhanging mast is obviously even more secure against extreme weather, which America does get a lot of. And as pointed out by many people on the internet, the overhanging mast just looks a lot less sketchy than a bunch of lights dangling from wires over the road.
Now, I do completely agree with this. The overhanging mast does look a lot better because when the light's hanging from that wire, it's just, you see the lights dangling. They can be dangling. They can be blowing with the wind. They not secure as with the overhead mast. There's not gonna be dangling, blowing with the wind. There's a tornado pick it up out the ground, but other than that, they gonna stay right there, and you'll be able to see them clearly.
That being said, span wire traffic lights are still common in the US, and they do usually use a 2-wire setup that are better for stability, but driving around, you can still find some single wire ones at smaller intersections. Even within states, the use of span wire versus a pole mount can differ, such as in Florida. We use a lot of span wire, but in places that have been really impacted by the hurricanes over the years, particularly South Florida, you'll see a lot of lights on a mast when they rebuilt, as span wire is not a match for hurricane force winds. Then you've got differences between counties who are in charge of the decisions surrounding traffic lights for their area. For example, someone knowledgeable in traffic signals made a comment that in Florida, for example, Brevard County liked span wires with traffic lights being vertical. Palm Beach County liked the signal fastened directly to the wire itself. So you can really see quite a regional difference, and counties in the US are typically smaller than what you would think of as a county in the UK. So you could only be driving for 10 or 15 minutes to a different county, and you'll find a little bit different of a traffic light system there.
See, that's very interesting. I feel like money-wise, I completely understand if you got to use the span wire. If you don't have the money, it just makes sense. You need to cut back on costs. I understand. I'm not mad about it. But I feel like preference-wise, it'd be kind of crazy, I guess, to prefer span wire over a large overhanging mast like that. So it's very interesting that kind of left up to the counties, and they decide like people's preferences. This is what the people want. So sorry, my microphone failed, but that's just very interesting.
And to add to that, in America, you've got some places that hang the traffic lights vertically like this, and some places that mount them horizontally like this. So to sum up this section, in the UK, traffic lights mostly look like this. In the US, traffic lights look like this, or this, or this, or this. Now, a lot of people don't know that the pattern of the lights in the UK and US is actually different. In the UK and US, the lights are similar in that they go from green to yellow to red. Now, the difference comes in when you go from red to green. In the
Okay.
US, the light changes immediately from red to green. There is no
Yes.
yellow involved in the middle. In the UK, the light goes from red, then red and yellow at the same time, then green. The introduction of the yellow in between helps let drivers know that the light is about to turn green. Whereas in America, the yellow only comes when the light is about to turn red. Part of the reason has to do with most of America being built around cars and automatic ones typically, so you don't really need any notice to get your car going once the red light turns green.
True.
Also, it's more common in the UK to put your handbrake on at the red light. Americans don't do this. We barely know where the handbrake is, so the extra second or two to prepare to go isn't necessarily needed in America. The other reason I've seen mentioned is that there is no point in telling Americans that the light is about to turn green because they will think that now we're in the Indy 500 and people will get into accidents, so it's better to make them wait and then surprise them. I know I make a lot of fun about American driving habits, but that's because I was allowed to drive when I was 16 years old on my own, and my test took place in a parking lot. Didn't even have to go out onto a major road. So if that tells you anything, there you go. This brings me to the end of this video, or at least the end of this video before I lose your interest, because even I can only make traffic lights seem interesting for so long. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Well, she did an absolutely good job of keeping our interest the entire way because I learned some new things. Yeah, I feel like if you did give us that yellow light, we would be prepared when that light hit green to just take off Indy 500 style. And a lot of accidents would happen. So it's probably best in America that you do the red to green. And then I still, as soon as it hits green, hit it. And then you could also, if you're at an intersection, you can kind of guess when your light's about to turn green when you see you look at the other people's lights and theirs hits yellow. Then you can start kind of, if you want to do the Indy 500, you can get it going because you know once theirs hit yellow that yours is about to turn green. So theirs hit red, give yours a second or two, green, you take off. I'm just saying, not that I do that. I always wait for it to hit green, look both ways, make sure, because some cars keep going on red and you got to be careful. And then I go. But I think it's very interesting. In the UK, red, then red, yellow. Or no. Wait, am I right? Go from green to yellow, red to I'm completely lost again. My brain is already thinks about traffic lights in American terms, so I can't remember America and UK traffic lights. Please don't judge me. Let me know how y'all feel about these differences. It seems like these differences do work best for each country. I like the fact that the UK, for the most part, it seems like all of the traffic lights are uniform and they're all going to be the same no matter where you go. Whereas in America, you can get them vertical, you can get them horizontal, you can get an overhanging mast, you can get some span wire. It's just different. But that's all we got. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, y'all. Get a video a like and check out this next video. I'll see you guys there.